they call that event where a load of tea was unceremoniously dumped into Boston Harbour?
Brunch.
I know you want me to say Boston Tea Party, so I'm going to say
Your question was, what do they call it?
You mean back then or something like
yes,
that?
back in the 18th century.
Oh, sorry.
At the time it happened, so
At the time.
1773. What was it called?
I would imagine it
Boston.
was referred to differently by the British and by the Americans.
Pretty much everybody called it destruction of the tea.
Ah.
Yeah.
I prefer that.
It's what it happened, isn't it? Because there was absolutely
Terrible
no
waste of
tea party involved.
I'm from Boston. We're very proud of the Boston Tea
But
Party.
why is it called a party?
Because it was awesome, you know? There's fancy dress. See, everyone's dressed up.
Yeah.
We won't say what they're politically incorrectly dressed up as.
About.
But there's the thing that calling it a tea party implies that some tea was made during it rather than destroyed.
Yeah, they made it.
And my experience, I'm sorry to say this, my experience of the United States is that when you order tea, it is made in a similar way to putting an insufficient amount of tea in an impossibly large quantity of cold water.
They did actually do the maths on that. So there's a guy called Randall Munro of XKCD. It's a sort of online maths-based comic.
XKCD.
And he worked this out. So in order to make a good cup of tea, you need 2 grams of tea per 100 ml of water. And Boston Harbour is half a cubic kilometre. So if you put 44 tonnes, which is what they did, 44 tonnes of tea in it, would be weak, bordering on homeopathic. In fact, if you dumped all the tea in the world into Boston Harbour, it would still be weak, and as you quite rightly say, it's cold water, so it'd make terrible tea in the first
People are
place.
ill. You're ill. Like, the primary concern of this is like, well, was it good tea? Like,
Well, it really matters. So when King George VI visited Washington in 1939, he went to visit FDR, and they were very concerned that he would be able to have a decent cup of tea. So a lab called the Betts Laboratory, they synthesised London water so that it would be exactly the same at home. And the White House ordered 5 gallons of this synthesised lab water. And about halfway through the visit, they got a note saying, we find that we'll need far more water than we asked for. Please, could we have another 20 gallons? So but can you tell me why the Boston Tea Party happened in the first place? What was it about?
A girl. It's always a woman.
Taxation without representation is what we're always told.
It is taxation without representation. It's the fact that the British were able to impose taxes, but actually it was to do with a tax cut rather than a tax hike.
Was a tax cut given to...
It was given to the British East India Company, and they were allowed to sell their tea directly to Americans and avoid selling it through the American tea merchants, who had to pay much higher taxes.
What?
Why do you think that in the UK 95% of households have electric kettles to make their tea and hardly any are in the United States? What do you think that's about?
It's because of the different standard voltage of the electricity system here.
Yeah, absolutely. It would take so long to boil a kettle in the United States. Although, can I just say, I grew up in New York, and I still have friends from high school, and I went to visit one of them, and she made instant tea with a sachet in a glass, and then she put it in the microwave. It's the most disgusting thing I've ever seen in my whole life.
Made it with cold water?
Cold water?
Yeah.
Yeah, I know.
I just want to say, like, I'm sorry. Like, we don't respect tea the way that we should.
Although this is interesting, darling. So this is a place called Tea Kettle Junction in California, and people write messages on tea kettles and hang it, and I can't find out why they do. I quite like
It's
it.
because they're in love.
It's just like that fence in Paris. You could actually do it with anything, anywhere.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You know-
you just place something somewhere and other people do it too, and then it means stuff.
Relations between the British and Americans over tea have often been rather strained. I thank you. Thank you for watching. Do remember to subscribe to the QI channel and click here to watch more videos. Well, please, come on, pick something.